Welcome back to the Corner 3 podcast. We are back live in action during the best time of the year. We are now week and a half into NBA basketball. Whole lot on this episode. Before we get into that, because I forgot the last couple episodes, and I do not want our version of Bill Simmons to be upset being that we are on and a part of the Basketball Intelligence Network. Make sure y'all subscribe to them. Shout out to Aaron Simmons, aka Bill Simmons. Shout out to Evan. Shout out to everybody over there. It's a lot of great content that they dropping over there if you love basketball. Jarrett, Rush, how y'all doing on this fine Sunday night?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm good. Tired, but it's been a good week though, as far as basketball wise, drama and everything.
I'm ready to watch Luka Doncic tonight, so hopefully we can show up like we did the last two games against the Heat. So it's going to be a tough game, but looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. On this episode, everything basketball related, load management. We'll be talking about the Sixers and Tyrese Maxey. We'll talk about the Bulls who are currently playing, if they are the real deal, and a whole bunch more.
Well, it shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me. I want to shut him up. He's calling me all kinds of names. I definitely want to shut him up.
Right.
You have a duty that if they're wanting to see you, and as an entertainer, I want to show.
So we know that went viral and everybody was talking about it. It seems as if hopefully they got more than this one episode because it seems like they about to stretch this out the entire season. Mike just did. He sat down for an hour and they're going to stretch this out. Shout out to Mike, though. He got paid. But do y'all think, based off of Mike's comments and y'all being basketball fans, should load management be abolished?
I don't. I don't think so. I just feel like, we are in an era when you talk about sports science, there's a lot more knowledge about the human body, the effect of an 82 game season on the human body that I think we need to trust the professionals that are put in place in these organizations to make the best decisions for their star players. Does it suck as a fan? Absolutely. I don't frequent a lot of NBA games, like personally live and in person, but for the fans who are like season ticket holders and, for a East Coast team that only gets to see LeBron or KD like once a year, like I get it. It's frustrating if that player sits out. But when you look at how much these players are worth, when you look at how competitive some of these conferences are, especially the Western Conference, and it's a league where everybody says, which, the playoffs are the only thing that matter, making sure these players are as rested as possible, I think is probably paramount to the franchises. And I think as a fan, if you look at a big picture, you might actually feel the same way. If, a player sitting 5, 6 games throughout the course of a year is going to help them, percentage wise to be a little bit fresher for the playoffs, a little bit healthier. I think it's worth some of the disappointment that fans will feel when players are missing games. I also would question Mike. Yeah, he may have never been a big proponent of load management while he was playing, but what about when he was an owner? Are we sure that he never sat Kimba or so and so on the first night of a back to back or the second night of a back to back? Like, it's easy for him to talk about it as not easy, but obviously he's going to talk about it from his perspective as a player. But as an owner, I'm pretty sure he he exercised some load management once or twice, or his team exercised load management for his players. I would imagine at least a handful of times while he was owner for the Hornets or / Bobcats. So it's a tricky subject, and I know there's a lot of emotions around it, but I personally, I don't have an issue with it.
Hey, Jarrett, do you think that it should be maybe like some parameters at least set on it? Like you got to be 10 years in or 15 years in, or you got to have a chronic knee situation like Kawhi. Do you think there should be parameters set for load management, or are you on the completely other side? Like, man, I'm with Mike. Y'all need to get rid of load management.
Nah, I think it should be some parameters behind it. Like I think like Kawhi's situation is a lot different from a lot of players in the league where he was suffering from knee injury for like 5, 6, 7 seasons. So I feel like, players who we know have a long injury history, it will make sense for them to be load managed. But the players who are like young and you 23, 24, trying to make a name for yourself in this league, you shouldn't be load managing. You should be out there trying to prove yourself, trying to earn that load management title. Like when it's your time, you're the elder statesman on the team, then you're able to do that. But not when you're still a very young player in this league who has fresh legs. But I get the reason behind it. Like players are playing ball from when they're like 9, 10 years old, probably even younger, almost every day. AAU, they have 2-3 games a day, and then you're working out in the off season, you're playing basketball every single day, and then when the season comes, you're still, kind of probably putting the same type of lifting that you're doing in the off season, which probably isn't the best idea as far as your workload compared to the offseason and the regular season. Kind of have to tone it back a little bit. But, I mean, it should be some type of parameters on it. Especially, I know that the league is trying to do it to where, all right, if you want to sit out on a nationally televised game, we're going to fine you. So, like, I like that idea behind it. But if it's a player that we know that is dealing with injuries, I'm not opposed to it.
Now, when you talk about them young legs over there in Chicago, them boys off to a 5-0 start. They down 8 at halftime right now to your New York Knickerbockers. Rush, we've seen it on Thread. Jarrett, we've seen it on Thread. How do you feel, Russ? Are the Bulls actually the real deal? Or let's pump the brakes. It's very early.
I hope not. No, I'm playing. I mean, it's early. It's like what, 5 games? But I mean, they're 6th in points as a team, 6th in points per game, 9th in rebounds per game, 1st in assists, which is kind of crazy, at 30.6, at least going into tonight's game. And they're actually holding opponents to like 114 points per game, which I think is like top 10 in the league. So based upon the very small sample size that we have, I mean, they've been very surprising, but I think very real team. And they beat the Knicks last game. They're playing them again tonight, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm not going to rain on Bulls fans parade. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time they started 5-0 since what, 96, 97, one of those seasons. So they're feeling really good in the Windy City right now. So I'm not going to hate. The way that they've been playing has been really exciting. Giddy's been balling. I think he's leading them in points. I think a couple other categories as well. And Kobe White's not even playing yet. Like, so that's going to take them to, I think, maybe another level even when he gets back. So yeah, I think for right now, from what we've seen, the sample size, the Bulls are for real, and I think it's really exciting for the league that they're seemingly confident team again.
Hey, Jarrett, from what you've seen so far, like you said, it's only 5 games and they're playing your Knicks now. What do you see when you watch the Bulls that makes it possibly a sustainable thing? Obviously, they're not going 82-0. But from anything that you've watched so far in these 5 games, that you think there'll be a sustainable top 6 team in the East, maybe?
I think the offensive output, because I feel like they had 6 players who's averaging double figures when I was checking the stat sheet. And And like we said, Josh Giddey is balling right now. Think what Rush was saying, he leads them in points. I think he's second in rebounds, first in assists. So on top of that, like relatively, they are a young team. Other besides Vucevic, like I think most of them are 26 and under. So I feel like they got a nice building block with Giddey and White, and if they decide to keep Herter and Okoro together, I feel like it'd be a sustainable thing. But this is always kind of the thing with the Bulls where they kind of start hot and then they kind of tinker off when the playoffs get closer. Become more of a playing team, so I just don't like the idea of them being somewhat purgatory, where they keep thinking like, all right, we can compete, we can try to get to the play-in, then God knows what happens after that. So like, I feel like they need a full rebuild, which I feel like they're starting to embrace. So I feel like Vucevic is kind of like the last piece that they need to get rid of, and then from there we'll see how it goes.
See, that's the concerning thing for Bulls. When I talk to Bulls fans, like I had a conversation with Doc Thompson. This start is the type of thing where the management and front office be like, oh.
Hold on real quick. My fault, not to cut you off, Tom. We got to give a shout out to Doc for being a media credential reporter now.
Shout out to Doc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Congratulations.
Shout out to Doc. Yeah, so this type of start might make the front office think, let's keep Vooch. You know what? They're 5-0. This might work. That's my only concern for Bulls fans. It'd be very intriguing what they do, especially once Kobe White comes back, how they play, because Giddey has the ball in his hands a high percentage. That's not going to be the same thing when Kobe comes back. So I wonder how he fits into that system, and maybe they look to move him later on by the trade deadline, because it is working with Josh Giddey as your number one main option, who was a former OKC Thunder. If he played like this over there, he might still be there, but obviously that wasn't the case. With the OKC Thunder, though, they're undefeated still. Yes, undefeated. Coming into this morning, checking the stats, it could change, but they are shooting 41 threes per game, which is tied for ninth in the league. But at that clip, though, they are shooting the worst in the entire league at 29.6% from the 3-point line. They're still winning. They're top 3 in offensive rebounding, but last in 3-point shooting percentage. Rush, is there any cause for concern over in Oklahoma City?
No, I don't think so. I think J-Dub is still out. That's another threat from 3 that they have, and I think it's early, right? I think as we move forward in the season, they'll sort of progress back to their averages, and I don't think that they'll shoot 29% for the year. I think they'll creep back up into that mid 30 range. So no, I don't think there's any concern, especially when you consider just the sort of defensive chaos that they cause on that side of the ball. So when you've got a team as locked in and synchronized on defense as the Oklahoma City Thunder are, and you've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you're leading the league in offensive rebounds, I don't think they've got a lot of other good things going on for them. That we would expect from them, obviously, that there's not really, from my standpoint, a cause of concern from the 3-point range. I would imagine they want to be better, and I think they will be. We just, got to get J-Dub back, and then, they just got to get their averages up.
Hey, Jarrett, another team that's been locked in, and I think would be on the surprising teams list, the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat are second in points with 125.4 per game. They lead the lead in pace. Also, Tyler Hero isn't even back, and they're doing a different type of style offense, which we saw a little bit in Memphis last year. They're fully embracing the offense of a lot of back screens, a lot of back cuts, not a lot of on-ball screening. Is the way that the Miami Heat are playing offensively, is that sustainable long term, especially once Tyler Hero gets back?
I think so. I feel like with Miami, they have the right personnel to play that style of basketball because a lot of them are not dominant ball handlers. Like they don't have like an actual dominant guard who's going to run pick and roll 80% of the time to get a shot off for his team. So I feel like it's motion offense, honestly. They just really just passing and cutting, which is kind of like Spurs basketball, which to me is the essence of basketball. You pass, you cut, ball movement. The ball always moves faster than the player. So why not more teams adopt it? I don't know. I mean, it showed that it worked in past generations. So unfortunately, Taylor Jenkins started to implement this system in Memphis, but he became a casualty of Ja Morant not wanting change, I would say. And I want to say that probably got Desmond Bane traded as well. But I feel like this offense is a sustainable product. But Tyler Hero coming back is going to be even more potent because of the gravity he creates as well as offensive player.
I think also the thing to keep in mind when Hero does come back, we might see them implement some more on ball screens. He does use on ball screens to be effective himself. So I think that's another factor in it. I think they'll mix that in because right now they are at the bottom two of on ball screens being used during the game. And again, like you said, it's dependent on personnel. You can't run this offense when you have like a Luka and a LeBron. You can't run this offense with a Giannis. They are so ball dominant and so high IQ. They kind of will laugh you out the room of like, I'm not running this offense. So I think shout out to Spo for looking at, hey, last couple years we've been booty. Let me try something new. Try something new. Shout out to the players embracing it. Also, another player that's not there that uses a lot of ball screens, on ball screens, is Scary Terry. So ain't got to worry about him coming back.
It's also a perfect kind of offense to run when you don't really have a superstar on your team. So you don't really have to worry about ego like with Ja, who didn't really like the lack of, pick and rolls for Memphis. When you've got not a bunch of guys like the Heat or Scrubs or anything, like you've got Andrew Wiggins, you've got Bam, you've got Norm Powell, but no real like superstar. So this kind of offense, I think, is easier to implement and easier to sell to your team because look, everybody's eating. Like Jaime is coming off the bench looking like like he want to be 6 man of the year. So obviously it's benefiting everybody, and you're always going to get buy-in in Miami whatever you're trying to do, just because of the pedigree that Spo and Pat Riley have, and just the culture that they've set. So I think we're kind of seeing it work better in Miami with some tinkering, just because you don't really have that true ball dominant superstar.
Most definitely, and Norman Powell talked about it. I think I saw it today. He was on some show, one of the new shows that they got with the TV and the TV deal, the different networks they're on. But it was him, Bam, and a couple other people, Dirk Nowitzki.
Amazon. I was watching that same clip.
Amazon, and he mentioned he was a little nervous before he got to Miami because the way that the Miami Heat run their team. But once there, he was like, it was easy to buy in. This is the level of excellence that they keep you to. Update right now, Mitchell Robinson had to go to the locker room with an injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
That's why I leaned over just now to look.
You should have saved that for after the broke Jarrett's spirit in the middle of the podcast. Goodness gracious.
On the flip side, right? We talk about Miami, we talk about OKC, we talk about the Bulls, teams that are winning right now. On the flip side, a couple teams that very early, very, very, very early. But from what we've seen so far, were the expectations too high for, I'll let Rush start off with the Orlando Magic. Do you feel the expectations were too high for the Orlando Magic with the start that they've been off to? Specifically, Paolo hasn't been off to a good start as well.
No, I don't think the expectations are too high, especially in the East. That's pretty well regarded as wide open. I think what we're seeing is that they're just not playing well right now. Paolo's got a slow start to the season, And they're trying to incorporate Bane, and Suggs, is just coming back. I don't know how much activity he was able to have over the summer. So I mean, they've got a big new piece, and I think they're still just getting acclimated. But I mean, sometimes slow starts happen for one reason or another. I wouldn't say that the expectations were too high, especially with Orlando, a team that I think wouldn't surprise me as making sort of a mid to late season push and playing well once they sort of get acclimated. So I think if we get to like 15 games and the record is like 3, 4, 5 games under 500 and Paolo's still not playing well, then I think maybe we hit sort of a panic button. But first 5 games, I try to treat it like preseason. I don't really overreact to much.
Most definitely. On the other side, Jarrett, one of your nemesis as a Knicks fan, the Atlanta Hawks, which was one of the very popular teams to choose to come in and take over the East. They're off to a slow start. Trae Young is out for 3 to 4 weeks now, which could really impact that team. What's your thought so far? Very early, but what's your thought so far on how the Hawks have looked early in the season, even when Trae was there?
I feel like they looked solid. They still going through, like growing pains, trying to implement some players to the team. I feel like they just need more time to really figure things out. They're 3-3 now, so Jalen Johnson was on a roll last season and he got hurt. Dyson Daniels really took off, and I feel like they do need to make a move, though. I don't know if moving Trae Young is the move that they should do, but I feel like they need to figure out what is the next best thing for them as far as, all right, we have Trae, but how could we get him off the ball more, even though like they had the DeJounte Murray and it didn't work out well. But they need to figure out, maybe they have to just switch up the offense all together. And I don't feel like they probably don't have to bring another player, just kind of like try to have Jalen Johnson play more of the point forward role. Because you got a lot of offensive weapons on the team now. So what is the next step to figure out what can help this group mesh well?
So within mentioning that, both teams, big pieces that they've added, they got to give it some time, rightfully so. I think that's a good gauge, that 15 to 20 game window. Let's see what these teams are looking like. I will say I don't like what I'm seeing from Paolo, and it's given mellow ball stopper-esque type of offense, which that can hurt them in the long run regardless. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that and keep y'all updated on that. We're not going to, y'all know, if y'all follow the Corner 3, we're not just going to come out here and just make some obscene hot takes just to make some obscene hot takes. It's 5 games in. 5 games in. But 5-6 games in, another team that's looking good and different from these 2 teams that we just mentioned, they've had more than enough time to figure the kinks out and figuring out what they're doing. The 76ers, is it time to turn the page and give the keys of this franchise over to Tyrese Maxey, Rush?
Oh wow, I get that one. Yeah, but I think he kind of already has, just by the sake of Embiid sort of being out so often, and Maxey just taking leaps. Like he's averaging 30, like 30. What is he at? Hold on, I got my notes. Let me pull up my notes so I'm not lying. 37 a game. 41% from 3 on 9.5 attempts. What? Like, sorry. Like I know there's more to the game than scoring, obviously, but having watched the Sixers play a couple of times, especially the first comeback win they had against Boston, which it was compounded satisfaction for me. One, because Tyrese was hooping, VJ was hooping, and of course they beat the Celtics, which I can't stand and got to tease my wife about. But no, I mean I think just the way that he and VJ have sort of just the chemistry they have has been almost instantaneous. And though I know Maxey has missed some time, but I think, to what we say, the best ability is availability. And I think if he's going to be healthy and we see how he can sort of just take over some games, especially late, I think he already is the best player on the team. Just by nature of, you never really know how healthy Joel is going to be and which Joel you're going to get. Like, just watching him move on the court, Joel doesn't look great. He doesn't have any explosiveness. Like, he can still get you buckets on offense. He can obviously draw fouls. He's one of the best. But just looking at an 82-game season, I just don't know how you can expect to rely on him to be available. So you almost have to look at Maxey as your guy from here on out.
Hey, Jarrett, I want to ask you this. Over there in DC, right? What have you seen so far from players such as Kyshawn George? Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Kyshawn, I'm not sure. If it's Kyshawn, where's the E at in his name?
We know who you're talking about. Sorry.
Yeah.
You said it's Kyshawn?
Kyshawn.
So next time you at the game, because you be at the games, ask him why his parents took the E out of that, because it just says KY. So they should have added the E, because that was the E silent N, not apparent. But anywho, that's a whole nother discussion. What have you seen so far early in the season with Kyshawn and some of the other young pieces? Because that's one of the younger teams in the league. I know Sarr had one or two pretty big games already this year. What have you seen over there with your Washington Wizards?
So the game when Philly was in town, Alex Sarr was balling. Like, he went at Embiid, and I was really impressed how he played. He told journalists during the opening presser that he is going to put an emphasis on attacking the rim more, playing closer to the basket, and he's been doing that all season long. And his percentages are all the way up, like all of them. I'm going to give you a breakdown of all the percentages. It's funny, I just did a podcast with someone earlier today to talk about the Wizards. So the field goal percentage, this is through 5 games. The field goal percentage from last year was 39.4%. It's up to 53.6. The 3-point percentage was at 30.8. It's up to 42.9. The 2-point percentage, 45.4, up to 56.4. Free throw percentage, 57.9, up to 85.7. True shooting percentage, 48.2. Now it's up to 61.2. So the jump is real all around. And I think long-term, he's going to be the first option for this team, and he's doing it on both ends. Kyshawn George, he is looking like a two-way star right now as well. He's taking that role as a primary ball handler, making plays for the team, and he's taking the opportunity to guard the best players on the opposing team while still scoring the ball at a high clip. His 3-point percentage is really high as well right now. So overall, good signs, but I think we gotta get rid of CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton to move forward and get the young guys more reps, because they've been running a lot of the offense in crunch time through CJ and Chris. And if you're going to commit to the rebuild, give the reps to the young guys. Let them grow through experience. And even if they make winning plays or have some blunders, it's still got to be some type of experience with them going forward. And have CJ and Chris just kind of on the bench in those roles and just kind of coaching the guys from the bench.
I think that's such a tough thing for Washington, the front office, the coaching staff. You still want to obviously win, but at the same time, you want to have to build your young team, your young players, that's a balancing act when you have vets on the squad like that. Another team that has some vets has a nice mix, a couple vets here and there, but they pretty much a younger team. I think this would be considered one of Russ's favorite teams to watch. One of his favorite players is on this team. The San Antonio Spurs. What we've seen so far. Is Victor Wembanyama already a top 5 player in the league?
That's another one I get to answer first. So okay. Someone giving me the tough ones. Yeah, I've really been struggling with this one all day long, just looking at it. Because if you were to ask me before the season started, right, before we seen anything, before the 5-0 Spurs, before anything, I would say you go in no particular order: Luka, Shea, Giannis, Jokic, and I don't know who that fits. So I kind of want to slot them in, but I just want to make sure we're not all being prisoners on the moment. But like what, 30 points, 15 rebounds, 4.8 blocks, like 56% from the field. 3-point percentage is low, but I don't know that anybody's really appalled at that. But he is changing. Like I think Doc put a montage together online. I'm pretty sure he was the one who did it. Just like how many shots he's changing without even contesting, just by being on the floor. Like dudes is going in to the paint, and I was like, oh, let me let me circle back out, or let me kick it out. I mean, we use the word gravity a lot. I mean, Wemby is just like he's just this immovable immovable object almost, like on defense as an anchor, and then on offense it's just I don't know. So yeah, I'm talking around it without actually giving you an answer, but yeah, I think it's safe to put him top 5. But even if he's not, the way he's been playing, I mean, he's not any more than I think a couple of slots on the outside looking in. He's been phenomenal, and to think that he's only going to get better is just really scary.
Now, one of the players that nobody has in the top 5, probably not top 10. Forget I saw an analyst say before the season this player was a top 40, and all of Memphis was on his head top and was upset. I'm obviously, if you haven't caught on by now, I'm talking about none other than Ja Morant. Jarrett, with everything that's been going on with good old Ja for the last couple of seasons, and now off to this very early season, and it's already issues over in Memphis. Should the Memphis Grizzlies at this point, let's cut our ties and try to trade Ja Morant?
I've been wrestling with this question for a few days now. Yes is the easy answer, but it's like, will that help Ja's behavior? I feel like the only team who can really put him straight is Miami, because of the discipline, the culture they have down there. But I mean, because Miami's running the same offense, so it's like the same thing Ja was complaining about is if you go to Miami, it's going to be the same situation. So suspending him one game doesn't make sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense to me. It just, what is that going to do for what you're trying to, tell your star? I feel like, you just got to have like a sit down with him, and ultimately he has to take accountability. He's been playing, I don't want to say relatively bad, but he's not playing up to his usual standard. So, as the star and the leader of the team, yes, you want to get your numbers, you want to have the ball in your hands, but you also have to have some type of commitment to buying into what the team needs from you. And if the team needs for you to play off the ball no more, then yeah, I mean, you have to buy in. I mean, the type of play you guys was doing before hasn't been working. So let's switch it up, see how it goes. Your offense went up sustainably high when you start running this offense. So yeah, I just don't know like what would be the best situation for him as a player if they decide to trade him. That's really the thing. But I think they should try to make a decision on trading him.
Hey, Rush, how do you feel about him as a player and his ceiling? Like, we had conversations of him being one of the top point guards in the league. He's one of the players that is must-watch TV, super exciting. But when you look at a game like the Lakers game, and he basically just gave up, and that's supposed to be the leader of your team, the face of your franchise. He in the corner talking to Marcus Smart, not getting over on the rotation. doesn't seem interested. He kind of attempted to pull like a Kobe that game where he was like, I ain't gonna shoot since y'all complaining. Obviously not the same situation, but he had that same reaction to the coach just trying to hold him accountable.
I think Ja is definitely still a talent in this league. I think he can still, with the right attitude and with some buy-in, I think he can still be, an elite point guard or playmaking guard in the league. I think what has happened is he's been injured, right? And some concerning things have happened. Like I think his field goal percentage at the rim has just like gone down. I think that's what Kevin O'Connor was pointing out this week. That is, his field goal percentage at the rim has just really gone down since he came into the league, which is concerning. But yeah, I'm indifferent on Ja, like the person. I obviously don't know him personally, and I don't follow Memphis very closely. As a player, I do still think, like I said, there's an elite talent there, and I do think he still has the ability to raise his game. I just don't know what the situation, what the circumstances have to be for that to happen in Memphis, right? Like you're on your second coach. In the last couple of years, you're already off to a rocky start there, somewhat. They got rid of the guy who had a successful offense, but you weren't exactly vibing with. So, like, what else needs to change in order for this partnership to sort of, be back in lockstep? I don't know. I think to answer the initial question, I do think it's a little early to start talking about trades, just because, again, 5 games in, we've seen star players have these sort of dust ups within their own organizations, suspensions, fines, player only meetings, and we've seen situations turn around. So I'm not saying that that's going to be the case here in Memphis, but I do think we need to give it a little bit more time to see how things play out from here.
So far in this early season, like I said, Ja's been one of the players since he's came to the league is must watch, must see TV. So far in this early season, Jarrett, who has been must see TV, whether it's a player, whether it's a team, who, when you see it on the schedule, you like, yo, I need to go watch them. I need to go watch this player.
Wemby. Definitely Wemby. But I'm actually really enjoying Stephon Castle. Like I'm really enjoying how he's playing as well. Like and Dylan Harper. He had a game where I think he had like 20 off the bench, like 20 and 8. And I'm like, man, these guys look really good together. But it's like, still got De'Aaron Fox coming back, and you still got Sohan coming back. So, I like Fox, man, but I think it's time, they gotta trade him. They gotta get rid of Fox and give Dylan Harper the keys as the point guard and have him and Castle just go ahead, just put him as the backcourt now. Another player I don't think people are really talking about that's must see TV right now, Zach LaVine. He's hooping right now. Sacramento, but he's averaging almost 30 right now, and I say this all the time with Russell Westbrook. As much as Westbrook can, hurt your team in ways, he can definitely help your team in a lot of ways. And one of those things is he always finds a way to kind of maximize the best player on that team. And it's been Paul George. He looked like an MVP that time in Oklahoma City. Harden was averaging like 35 with Russ at a point. Of course, we know about KD and Russ when KD was the MVP and everything. All right. And now it's Zach LaVine's time. And Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's averaging like 33 with Westbrook. So now LaVine is taking that step with Westbrook, but how sustainable will that keep going, and will it translate to wins? I don't know, because it is Sacramento at the end of the day. So we just have to see how things go.
Rush, for you, I know you love YouTube TV and you be watching it in the 4K Ultra and the 3 different screens going at the same time. Who have you had in your TV when games are on? Like, obviously I know your Lakers, but outside of your Lakers and the tear that Austin Reeves has been on and Luka's been on, who else have you been watching?
Yeah, so as a team, the Spurs, obviously, Wemby's fantastic. Like Jarrett said, Stephon Castle, Harper, I think, is really good. And I know we mentioned our last episode, like how many seasons before we got to have a conversation about the backcourt situation there. Now, you talk to Spurs fans, they don't like people. They don't like people talk already trying to trade their players, man. They've been waiting to be good for a long time. Now they're like, don't talk about we still need Fox. It's one of the more hilarious things I've seen. Like all Spurs on fans online are in formation telling people to stop trying to trade Fox, which I respect. So I won't mention it again. I'm just saying, at some point, and it might be a conversation that they have to have, or maybe Harper turns into Manu, and they roll with those three. Who knows? But neither here nor there. BJ Edgecombe is my if the Sixers are on, I'm watching, mainly because of him, because he's a rookie, and I want to try to keep a better eye on the rookies this year as opposed to last year. But Tyrese Maxey's been playing well, and Philly actually, as a team, as I think we mentioned, has been playing pretty well too. But VJ is just electric. Like he's already had like like 3 or 4 highlight dunks. So I think he's gonna be special. And then I know you already said it, but I'm saying anyway. Of course, Luka Doncic. So 3 straight 40 plus point games. First player to do it since Wilt. Only other player to do it other than Wilt. Skinny Luka, revenge tour. I'm just here for it. I'm here for all of it. And there was some talk this summer after the Lakers got eliminated because Luka was a little heavy. He had a little back injury because he fell awkwardly. He's a little fit. I don't think anybody here is going to dispute that. Saw a lot of chatter. Oh, so Nico was right. Nico was right. I don't know. There's a lot of those same people are quiet. Now we're back to hating Nico again, which I've noticed. Pendulum swung. At first, people got back to a little lukewarm on Nico, but now it's back to F Nico. So I think without question, not taking Cooper Flag into account that the Lakers won that trade, but I'm just so thankful that we got a 26-year-old superstar who's just entering his prime. And Lucas just box office every night. So those would be my three must watches, two players in one team.
Just again, how crazy that is. The historic Lakers. We're not talking about the Hornets. We're not talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. For it only to have been him. Kobe didn't do this. Bron didn't do this. Pau Gasol, Anthony Davis, Shaquille O'Neal didn't do this in his heyday. That's wild. So shout out to Luka and the tear that he's been on. You mentioned VJ Edgecombe. I mean, the man says it was 7 years straight. They was off of a generator. That man hungry. That he's perfect for Philly. Been balling. Outside of Edgecombe, Jarrett, and after Jarrett's done, Rush, you get ended off with this. Who have been some of the other rookies outside of we've gave love and flowers to Edgecombe. We've gave love and flowers to Harper. Anybody else that y'all seen in that rookie class, which so far, if y'all remember, leading up to the draft last year, people were kind of down on that draft class. It was Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper, and everybody else was they off to a pretty good start, this rookie class.
I gotta give a shout out to my statesman, Trey Johnson. He's balling right now. Someone tried to come at me when I compared him to young Ray Allen, but I see the flashes. A lot of draft boards had him compared to Ray Allen as well. The shooting is there, and coming into the draft, he was projected to just be a scorer, but he's committing to defense. He's committing to going after the offensive boards, which is one thing I've really noticed from him. He's really been kind of crashing from the baseline and off the wings, getting offensive rebounds. So he has this push shot that he does in the lane, when he gets the offensive rebound, it's money. So I'm really impressed by him. And Con Nipple down in Charlotte, he's playing really good right now. Like he actually has Charlotte, aside with Melo, of course, he has Charlotte looking good right now. They've been finally getting back to some winning ways. With how erratic, how Charlotte plays at times, Con Nipple plays a little more calmer. He's kind of like the perfect fit for Melo's wild plays at times. But like I like what they're doing down there in Charlotte right now. Like I like Con Nipple's game, and I'm a little biased because I am a Duke fan as well. So I'm a little biased, but Con is really good.
Come on, man. You ain't have to throw that nonsense in there, Duke.
You see my son pat me down. I was like, it's okay, Daddy.
Duke. Disgusting. Makes me sick. I want to ask you this, Rush, unless you have any more rookies.
Yeah, let's get some love to Cedric Howard over in Memphis. I got to see him not up close, but I watched the Lakers game, Lakers Grizzlies game. He wasn't as good as some of his earlier performances, but I think just looking at his story, how he had his path to getting to the league and being drafted, I think is I just love to read stories like that, and sort of stories like VJ. So to see a lot of these young guns coming into the league and contributing right away, and like you said, a draft class that wasn't really held in high regard past the first 2 or 3 picks. It's just really encouraging to see.
I want to ask you this to end off the show. Ryan Rollins over there in Milwaukee has been off to a very, 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 very good start. A lot of it has been accredited to that man, Rajon Rondo, being on the coaching staff, and obviously the hard work that he's had. From what we've seen from Ryan Rollins, once teams get more film on him, once teams lock in, and now with this Bucks roster, Porter Jr. is out. He is one of the names outside of Giannis that is on the scouting report now, with how he's been playing, especially that game where he had against the Golden State Warriors and Giannis wasn't there. Is what we're seeing from Ryan Rollins, is that sustainable? Are we looking at a star level type of player being born in front of us?
Wouldn't say star, but can he start for them for the foreseeable future? Absolutely. I think not shy by any means on the court, especially when Giannis ain't out there. So I think when we were talking about this Bucks team in the offseason after they got Turner, we were like, they've kind of added some pieces, and they could be all right in the East. That's wide open, but they need a point guard. And we were talking about Kevin Porter Jr., but he's hurt. Point guard may have just not necessarily fallen into their lap, but that situation may have solved itself just by the nature of KPJ being hurt. So, if he's able to keep, maybe not at this level, but I mean, even 75% of it, I think that puts Milwaukee in a bit of a different conversation when we're talking about best teams in the league and where they can end up at the end of the season.
Most definitely. That'll be something to watch for sure. But that's a wrap here on the Corner 3. Y'all know the best threes are corner threes. We out. Peace.